A clash over government funding happening at the same time. Some Americans are seeing a very big blow to their portfolios, with the Dow closing at a new low for 2022. We want to discuss this and much more with a former aide to Senator Chuck Schumer and host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast, Chris Hahn, and author of Put Y'all Back in Chains: How Joe Biden's Policies Hurt Blacks, and Project 21 co-chair Horace Cooper. Brothers, thank you for spending time with us on a Friday night. A lot of places you could be. We certainly appreciate you spending part of it with us. I just want to share this headline and begin with you, Chris, because as I mentioned earlier in a segment with Congressman Donalds, the truth is, no matter how you slice it, it is getting tougher for people out there. The bills are getting tighter. The dollars aren't going as far. Let me share this from the New York Post. It's a headline: Americans have lost $4,200 in income under Biden, according to a study. It says this: analysis found that the average American has lost about $3,000 in annual purchasing power because consumer prices, which have risen 12.7% since January 2021, have spiked significantly faster than wages. Wages have risen just 8% over the same period, which has effectively resulted in a pay cut for Americans struggling to pay for daily necessities, including food, gas, and rent. It is fair to say, and I know that you would agree, it's unfair to suggest that this is all on one person or even all on one party, and yet, Chris, the buck stops with the guy in the job. What's he doing, and why aren't things getting better faster?
Look, the buck always stops with the president.
Yep.
He's blamed for everything, whether he controls it or not. That study is dubious. It's by the Heritage Foundation. I read it. They're averaging all spending and saying all Americans on average this. That's nonsense. Yes, spending power is down. That is correct. Yes, the economy is not doing what it was doing a year or two ago. There are many reasons for that. The American people understand that. We've seen a steady decline in energy prices. We may see a spike in the winter. I don't think that the energy price issue or the economy is going to be the number one thing on voters' minds in November. Now, if you would have asked me that in June, I would have said, no, that's going to be the number one issue. There's a lot going on. There are a lot of things driving people to the polls. President Biden seems to be having his numbers continually his approval numbers continue to rise in the polls, and that's going to be helpful to Democrats on the ballot in November.
Well, a couple of things there, Horace. He's right when he says energy prices, maybe broadly, are still very high, although the Democrats can point to the fact that gas prices have come down from historic highs. But I think it's also obvious that Chris may not believe it, but I think the Carville rule still applies. It's the economy, stupid. That always seems to be the case. November is right before the holidays, too. I suspect that's exactly what people will be thinking about, Horace.
Well, I'm not sure if it should be said it's the economy, stupid, or stupid, it's the economy. Of course that's going to be the number one driver. Of course the American people are going to be focused like a laser. We're all but in a bear market with the stock indexes. Now, I'm sure the left is going to try to redefine the definition of a bear market the same way that they managed to redefine what a recession is. But the American people are the ones that really measure this. And to answer more adequately about the Heritage Foundation study, yes, it's an average. What Bloomberg says, what the Wall Street Journal says is, the lower you are on the income scale, the harder you are hit by these mismanagement by the Biden economic policies.
A lot of people will want to toss this back and forth, Chris, but in the limited amount of time I have left, I want to shift gears and talk about a trend. Let me share a soundbite which sort of unpacks this idea that the GOP is gaining in popularity among Hispanic voters. Listen.
The larger picture is that Latinos have been sending a message for the past 4 years. We're not trying to say that Republicans are winning the national Latino vote. What we're trying to say is that Democrats are losing it. No, and the Latinos are sending a message, and we need to listen.
Tight answers, both gentlemen. We've got about a minute to go. First to you, Chris. What, if anything, can Democrats do about that?
Well, they've got to stop treating Latinos like a monolith, and they've got to stop taking them for granted, quite frankly. Republicans have made inroads with Latinos because they've done some outreach to Latinos, particularly evangelical Latinos in Texas, Florida, and Arizona, where they've made significant inroads. I think that the Biden campaign missed an opportunity to perhaps even turn Florida by competing for Latino votes there, particularly Puerto Ricans who had emigrated from Puerto Rico to Florida after Hurricane Maria. I don't understand why the party's not taking this seriously. They're still obviously winning a majority of Latinos, but they need to get a vast majority of Latinos to start turning Texas, Florida, and Arizona.
15 seconds, Horace, to you.
Shut down the crazy train. All of the LGBTQIA, how many genders can you have? Let's operate on your child. All of the we don't like the American flag. Stop it. Quit. Fund the police. Support America. Say you love it. Latinos, they love America. That's how you get their vote. That's how the conservative movement is gaining those votes.
So do liberals. They love America, too.
And border security is a big issue for them as well. Gentlemen, real great conversation. Thank you, as always, Horace and my buddy Chris. Appreciate it, guys.
Good evening.